Hey, welcome everybody to BigGunner81 Live, presented by Applied Arsenal Finishes and Gunworks, Eggleston Munitions, BAT Arms, Sapinta Precision, the range of 35, and I'm probably forgetting somebody off the top of my head. But anyway, welcome everybody. Hope you're all doing well tonight. Just kind of have an open mic night type deal tonight. Maybe once in a while. So 5. And I heard something playing back in the background. I forgot to mention that too, and it could be on my end maybe. Once in a while that'll happen if you have the YouTube channel playing in the background. You'll hear it in the mic. But speaking of which, for those of you out there watching, if you have any questions or comments and so forth for us, you can actually, if you're on YouTube, you can go ahead and use the side chat they have there that's out there for everybody, and also over on gunchannels.com/BigGunner81. We also have a chat that goes on live out there too as well for those of you that might be on gun channels and so forth. So anyway, let's go ahead and introduce everybody. We lost Tommy, who might be popping back in.
All right. I am back, I think.
Yep, we hear you, Tommy. Welcome.
All right.
How you doing?
I'm having iPad problems, okay?
Yeah, I noticed you got the pink earphones on, headphones on now.
Hey, I love my pink Beats.
Nice.
These are These were my daughters, okay? And then
you stole them from your daughter?
Nope. She said she didn't like them.
Really?
Yep. She said she didn't like them. So instead of wasting, I don't know, $200 or something, I decided that I was going to use them.
Yeah. Cool. And we also got Dustin here with us as well. Welcome, Dustin.
Hey, man. So, thanks for having me.
Yep. Thanks for joining us. He's kind of new to our whole thing and joining us for the first time tonight. So we're always welcome to new people, new shooters. Well, not new shooters, but new people that are in the shooting community, whether they're competitive shooters or someone who is maybe a dealer or in the manufacturing side of it. Anyone who supports the Second Amendment, pretty much. We're open to having on. So welcome. Appreciate you having you. Also have Corey with us as well from Southern Style Beards.
Hey guys, how's it going?
So I don't know, we just kind of have like an open night. Like I said, I don't really have any real strong topics. I think the SIG P320 thing's been beaten to death already. No pun intended. Everybody out there with their hammers beating on things, and so forth. And they've got their voluntary recall or voluntary performance upgrade, whatever the hell they're calling it. Which, nothing against SIG. I think that's, a good way to handle it, yada, yada, because everyone's going to have their own different opinions and whatnot. But they are doing something, is my point, which is better than, trying to turn a blind eye to it. And there's a lot of strategy involved that people aren't aware of and things like that. But anyhow, we'll see what happens with that. The internet will unfold all the details as that continues, I'm sure. But
at least they're standing behind it. And
yes. Exactly. At least they're saying, hey, we're offering this. We're aware of it.
Well, what I thought was weird is if you had a modified trigger, the chances of it happening was less than if you had a factory trigger. So if you had a 2-pound trigger, the odds of it actually dropping and discharging was less, which kind of goes against the theory, right?
Right. That's what that's what I saw in the video. Like, there are some of the videos that were out there, which was kind of interesting. I agreed. Like, they brought up the fact of the X5 model that has a lightweight trigger, like the actual trigger itself, not the spring necessarily, trigger springs, but the actual trigger physically is lighter. And they're thinking maybe the inertia or something behind that is less because the trigger itself is lighter. But then you see people smacking it on the back with a hammer. So to me, that almost defeats it and whatnot. But the argument. So I don't really know what to think. And I think they're still kind of sorting some of those details out still. And we'll find out, I'm sure, soon enough. I still wouldn't mind having a P320. I like them. Although I will say with the caveat, I would like to have the X5 model, of course. Not because the whole seems to be less prone for the drop firing type deal, but just because for me, I like the idea of the P320 for the competition aspect of it. I thought it was kind of cool, something a little different. And I myself shoot a SIG 226 for my competitions and whatnot. I have not tested that as far as the drop safetyness of it, especially. And the reason why I'm laughing is because I did install a lightweight trigger. Actually, well, when I say lightweight, as far as the trigger pull itself, the trigger itself, I'm not sure how much lighter or what the weight difference is between the original. But anyhow, I definitely do like my SIGs regardless. And I like my Glocks too. You hear a lot of people going back and forth with the SIG Glock thing. I actually carry a 19. That's what I prefer for that. And I enjoy it. And I actually am kind of thinking, speaking of the Glock, something I'm going to kind of get into, I think, is probably, I don't know if I mentioned this in last week's deal, but I want to build a custom slide. I've never built a slide from a bare slide before. And we're going to kind of do that pretty soon here. And then I'm going to be looking for a frame, basically, to go along with that as well. So I'll probably have 2 Glock 19s at some point. One that's basically stock for carrying, and one that I just want modified just to kind of modify it and take it to the range and maybe do some type of competition with it. I don't know. No, it's you always hear people say. Are you going to get an 80% lower? You know, I thought about that, but chances are I'll probably just booger that thing all up trying to do it. I don't have a nice mill. If I had a mill, I'd feel a little bit better about it because I can do a little more precision machining. But using a Dremel and maybe a drill press if I have one, which I don't right now, I don't have a lot of confidence in it. But and I've tried that before with the 80% AR-15 lower. Try to freehand that thing. Oh my god, you might be able to do it. I probably could still salvage the one I have, but it's not right. So
yeah.
It was more of a exercise in futility, some people say, or just like exercise and just practicing messing stuff up. But speaking of 80% too, I still have this. I haven't even tested this out yet. Assembled it. I don't know if you've ever seen these. So AR15mold.com, I think, is their website still. Basically, it's a polymer AR-15 receiver that you can mold yourself from a mold. So I put one of those.
That's pretty cool.
This one actually has a metal insert in the back that you put inside that you kind of bend up and put in there to help reinforce it. I still don't hold a lot of weight in the durability necessarily of this one, and it may just be how I poured it because it is a process. You got to follow it just right. When pouring these things, you have certain time limits, certain temperatures, certain mix ratios and stuff. And if you get bubbles in it, the bubbles are like weak points. You can kind of, I doubt you can see it on the camera, but let's see, like probably right where my finger is. There's a little tiny bubble right there. I don't know if it'll even focus on it or not, but there's little tiny bubbles throughout this here and there, and that's going to weaken it. And so forth. But I'm going to try it with the 223 at some point, or 5.56, just to see how it does. If it holds up to that, I might just make it into a 22 or something. I really don't know.
There you go. I would just do it as a 22, man. Just 22 and do a 22, and that's it. I wouldn't even. Yeah,
I think it'll last. I already have a dedicated AR-22 build. Just to kind of tell you about that for those that are watching. I started out with the CMMG drop-in kit, which is basically like if you have a rifle that's chambered in 223 or 5.56, this kit will you just pull the bolt out and drop it in, and all of a sudden now you got a 22 basically. The downside of that kit is you zero your optics for whatever ammunition you're shooting. Now you switch over to a 22. So I didn't do that enough to really know, if I had to what my settings would have to be and whatnot to play with them. I didn't really experiment with that. I kind of just put the drop-in kit in there just to kind of plink with it and didn't really care about the super accuracy. And that may be a good way to look at it too if you use the drop-in kit. Later on, I ended up getting a dedicated 22 barrel. And what I found was that the CMMG kit, you could take the front extension, I don't know if you call it extension or chamber adapter, I guess, because technically it goes inside the chamber. That comes off the CMMG bolt assembly, and there's an adapter that goes on in place of it and just kind of slips over the 22 barrel and dedicated 22 barrel. So I'm still using that original bolt. I just now have a dedicated 22 that has a dedicated 22 barrel, and I threw that on a ATI original ATI Palmer lower, their ATI Omni, and have that still. So I kind of played around with that, and that's kind of where I came up with it. But I may do that same thing with this one, just at some point build an upper for it. Who knows? Realistically, I don't really need to because I've got a fair selection of ARs right now. Not just
how many are you up to now?
Well, not the way I look at it when I say that collection, I have what I consider my personal collection, and then I have what I consider the 50 States of AR-15 collection. So
Right.
You can see all the cases that I have, 50 rifle cases. No, they're not all full. How many are complete? We have 7 complete rifles for the project right now.
Yay.
Yeah, that's a good start. We've got a couple on the horizon, and I forget. I want to say I've lost count off the top of my head. I think there's like 10 receiver sets I have right now to work off of. Some with various parts and so forth. Like some states might have a handguard with it. Some states might be almost complete minus maybe a stock and charging handle or something. So they're in various states. States of assembly, that is.
Dude, you have far many more AR-15s than I do. I had 2, and I got rid of 1. And
Really?
all I have is my 1 rifle that I use for 3-gun. That's it.
Oh wow, that's cool. See,
My next gun is gonna probably be either a Lead Star or an F1, the skeletonized one, and that's it. That'll be my 3-gun rifle, and that's it. I'm gonna put a decent barrel in it, probably a stretch 16. Just do it up, and I'm never buying one off the shelf ever again. I made that mistake twice now, and I've got a couple other lowers and stuff, but I don't consider them rifles because it's just the lowers. There's no upper.
It's not a full rifle yet. It's a receiver. Sure.
I got 2 of them that don't even have a trigger. So now I'm down to 1 rifle, and that's my 3-gun rifle.
So. Yeah, I have the F1, the original F1 upper and lower for my competition build right now. I think they have a Generation 2 upper out now. I don't know if they have the Generation 2 lower out. At least I saw it when I was at SHOT Show, so I don't really remember. But Lead Star Arms is a good one, too. I actually was looking at that. I want to try to use them in this project maybe, too. We'll see. But I think what they're doing is pretty cool and unique and everything. I like their story and how they got into business with that. And if I tell it, I'll probably be a little bit off with it, and so forth. So, anyhow, yes. As far as though you mentioned about how many rifles, that's the 50 States project. How many do I have as my own personal collection? I lost count, I think, but I know I have 2 AR pistol builds. I can tell you that off the top of my head. I have that 22 build. I've got 2 that are kind of like project rifles, so to speak. One that I assembled and I haven't even shot yet. The other one I'm kind of tweaking right now, and that is it's actually sitting over here. It's my AR-15 budget build that I've been playing with. I got to make a small change to the gas system on it a little bit to get it to run right, because basically I think the gas port is too small on it. Some companies will make them a little bit tinier than they need to be. Yep. And that's, in my opinion, I'd rather have that than too large. So you can drill out a gas port, and it's pretty simple. I've done that before. But it just doesn't have adequate gas pressure. So initially I used that same barrel on another upper receiver and different bolt carrier group with it and different buffer spring, all that kind of stuff. And I had a similar issue where it's basically kind of like a bolt action in a sense. It didn't have enough energy to cycle the bolt far enough. So I tried it with this combination off the bat, just with everything all as it was, and got to cycle quite a few times running like Wolf Gold ammo in it. And it seemed to be running okay, but then it still wouldn't lock the bolt back sometimes, and once or twice it didn't pick up the next round. But it was actually running much better than it did the first time I used that barrel. Fast forward, I'm like, hey, before I go ahead and I drill the gas port, just for the hell of it, just for an experiment, let's go ahead and take the weights out of the buffer. Okay? And everyone, there's different debates on this whole thing about some people saying, well, it needs that to help reduce bolt bounce and everything. But I figured, you know what, it's an experiment. I just want to try it and see what happens. So I took it out to the range and found it to be that it had more recoil, no doubt. So it seemed like it had a little more recoil, and it seemed to be a little bit less reliable too. So I was kind of like, okay, cool. I'm gonna put those weights back in it, and my next step's gonna be drilling out the gas port on the barrel to increase the gas pressure just slightly. Just go one step larger on it and give it a try. So
to keep on that subject about the gas ports, I was talking with my gunsmith a few months ago, and he was telling me that he got 7 barrels from a company. And if I tell you the name, I'm lying because I cannot remember the name of it. There was no gas ports drilled in the barrels at all. It's like they forgot to drill it for the gas port.
Wow.
And he's like scratching his head. So he ended up sending all 7 barrels back. And then the new barrels, when he did get them and they were drilled too small. So he had to drill them bigger. And it's like, he lost it. And he's like, he told me, don't ever buy these barrels because I'm having nothing but problems. Customers wanted these barrels. And I shoot with Indiana multi-gun, so I'm definitely going to grab me a stretch 16 barrel just for the fact I believe that they sponsor Indiana multi-gun. But if not, a lot of people actually have been using them. So I'm just going to go that route.
Yeah, the very first barrel I bought, and it was from Sportsman's Guide. So we don't know really who made the barrel, but I got it. I put it together, and I'm like, this is how I learned about gas, from the gas system a little bit. Was the first AR-15 I built, and it was using that ATI Omni blower, believe it or not. Because I bought my Colt LE6920, and I wanted to actually build one, but I figured I'll buy one first so I have something to kind of look at and see how it works before I just jump in and start assembling something without really having any idea of the operation yet. Just to kind of learn off of it. So I started putting it together, and I took that to the range, and it was having issues with, short stroking, basically, I guess the way to put it. And I read on the reviews for the barrel from Sportsman's Guide that, the gas port is often too small. So I started looking into it, and I'm like, okay. So I bought like one drill bit that was like one step up from the size of that gas port just to open it up a little bit, because obviously you can't put material back, you can only take it away. So open it up, put it back together, put the gas block back on it. Next time I took it out to the range, it functioned flawlessly, no issues. I was like, cool.
There you go.
That's pretty awesome. So I was just trying to experiment before doing that with this barrel, just to see. And I think that, like I said, like some companies will intentionally make them smaller so you can kind of tune it a little bit. But I don't know that for sure. I just imagine that, of course, like I said, you can't really add material to it. You only take it away. And if it's too large, the only other option I could think of off the top of my head would be an adjustable gas block or maybe adjustable gas key. I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. This is just like me talking about my thoughts and opinions. I've built a few of them, so I'm still learning. And there's people that built many, many more than I ever have, and so forth.
Just wait till you put that JP capture spring in one.
I want to do that. Well, have you tried that?
I've shot a rifle with one in it, and I'll tell you what, it's nice.
Does it get rid of that whole boinginess to it?
Yes, it does. It does. But see, my rifle, my Bushmaster that I have an H3 buffer in it right now, just because of it flattened the gun out. But I bet you if I took and put a JP capture spring inside of it, that gun would be amazing. But it doesn't have that boing to it. You know how when you're shooting, you hear that everything cycling inside the
because the buffer tube bouncing inside the tube and everything, and it's more captured. So
even with this H3 that I have in my rifle now, you don't even hear it.
That's cool.
But also, I reload my own ammo, and I very rarely shoot factory production ammo. So everything is set for my gun. I use one specific powder, one specific bullet, and then for the 77 grain bullets, I have something else for it. But
Cool.
I still don't hear that spring bouncing around inside there or anything. It's a nice shooting gun now.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, and as far as the rest of my collection, besides those 2 project ones, but also I have the F1 rifle I talked about with the competition set up with that one. I just have a Vortex Strike Eagle on that, and I have like what I call an M16A2, kind of look-alike type deal, 20-inch heavy barrel type deal. I got my Colt LE6920 that kind of goes along with that in a sense. I've got a 300 Blackout rifle I put together with an R guns lower and DR guns handguard. And I think I'm probably forgetting something, but that's kind of it. I forget how many I have now as far as personal collection goes. I'm actually kind of thinking about for the first time maybe getting rid of a couple of them. Maybe doing a giveaway for the channel, maybe selling one of them. I don't know yet. Some ideas just been kicking around with that. So
I've been getting into a little bit of military rifles. I picked up K98 Mauser. I forget which one that is. I think that's a Swedish one. It's the K98. I can't remember. But anyway, just starting to get into it a little bit, so I don't quite know a whole lot about them. Haven't even shot any of them yet, so that's pretty much how bad it is. Other than that, man, I've just been shooting a lot of competitions and stuff.
Cool. So Dustin, you do a lot of long range type stuff. You want to talk about that? Because I'm not real familiar with long range, myself.
Right. Well, I mean, really, I guess the best part would be just to kind of get into it as far as, what questions you may have. Because there's so much material that deals with long range. It's kind of like, where do you start?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got you. So and Corey and can't even talk. Tommy, if you guys got any thoughts or any questions for him too, feel free to chime in on this as well. But I was going to ask, for example, now do you do like long range competitions? I assume, right?
Yeah, like PRS style or tactical. Paul at Frontline has the Absolute Zero sniper match. Woody's, they've taken like a hiatus off for this year. They've done 1 or 2 matches. Typically they do like a fall brawl. But what's really cool about Woody's is they would do like a 2-man team match. Out to about 600 yards, and you always get the crowd that's, is a semi better or is a bolt gun better, when in reality, when the finals came, because they would have basically one every quarter, it was a toss-up. It's really the guy behind the tool, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I always tell people. As far as they're like,
it always is the guy behind the tool.
Yeah, I mean it is. It is. I've seen guys with $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 rifles that can't shoot worth a piss, and guys that pick up or have taken a Aero Precision rifle and just sitting there and just keyholing it the whole time. What I like about it is all the science. I'm a nerd. I'm an engineer, and I nerd out on the ballistics and everything else that associated with the firearm, and then shooting at distance when you combine that. Because most people you mention long range are like, I've shot up to 300 yards. I'm like, no. Ballistically, it doesn't really matter until you get out like past 6 or 7, depending on what caliber.
What caliber do you shoot?
I shoot a 6.5 Creedmoor. Was my first gun I built, and then I've got a 6 Dasher. Is what I currently have. It's kind of embarrassing to say that.
A 6 what?
Dasher.
Never heard of it.
It's a fireform case. So have you heard of it, like a 6BR, bitch rest is what they call it?
Yep.
Basically, you take that and you're fireforming it from that caliber. What it does, it takes. Matter of fact, here you go. So this is a Dasher, and then this. Oh, I'm sorry. This is your Dasher, and you can tell how it pushes. Can you see it? How it pushes the neck and the shoulder up, so you get more case capacity. I grabbed the wrong case. I'm an idiot. I grabbed the 6. There you go. 6BR. and then dasher. You can tell how it pushes the case up, the neck,
Yep.
and shoulder up. Just give them the case capacity so you can shoot them faster. You can put
Have you seen a
6 millimeter a little bit harder?
Have you seen a 6mm Hager?
Hager?
Yeah, I think that's how you say it. I don't know.
Hager.
Hagar.
No, sir.
Yeah, it's an oddball one. I think I just got the die. I got the die sets before I moved down here. And the brass mahority. Like you can't buy the ammo anywhere for it. You can only load it.
Right.
I believe it was a caliber that was set up for like high power shooting. I was kind of doing a little reading on it because I didn't really know much about it. Long story, but I built this because, and I haven't shot it yet. But for the Massachusetts rifle build, I was looking for a barrel that was non-threaded, and in some of the states for the 50 States project, there may not be a component that I can find in that home state, so it'll have to come from somewhere else. So we were working with Criterion Barrels on the Wisconsin rifle build, and I was up there touring their facility and everything for the project, and I asked them, I said, "Hey, do you happen to have like a 20-inch, bull barrel that's non-threaded that I might be able to use for Massachusetts?" And they looked around. And they said, "Yeah, actually, we have one over here." And we both thought it was a 223 barrel, and didn't realize on the engraving, when they handed it to me. So I get home, I'm looking at it, I go, "What the heck is 6mm Hager?" And I started looking it up. I'm like, "No kidding, this is actually a caliber. I've never heard of this."
Right.
I wrote him back like, "Well, if you want to send it back to us, it's fine." And I'm like, "Well, actually, let me think about this for a minute because I don't have any of this ammo or anything to reload it with yet." And I'm like, this would be something kind of cool. It's just it's a conversational piece that as part of the project that you say, "Hey, this is something that's different." You can build AR in many different calibers. This is just one of them that's kind of out there that you may not see every day, or you're not going to see every day. It's not very popular, but it exists, and you can still load it and everything. And it uses a 6.8 SBC, I think, wherever it is, bolt, and magazines to go with it. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool. So I've got all that stuff. I just have to make some ammo up on the press and go test it out.
Wow. I know, what's real popular, like at Woody's, when they do two-man team, it's like the 6.5 Grendel.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys, the ARs, they run those out there. I mean, granted, like a 600 yards, like my first competition at Woody's was with, it was funny, I took a class that was an optics class, supposed to be a 1-to-4 optics class with John Boyette with Trace Army Group up in Butner, North Carolina. And I'd only shot out to 100 yards. So we're out there, we're shooting at 500 yards, basically on a huge, 4x8 sheet of metal. And one round hit all the way out to 500 yards, and after that, I got hooked. But for Woody's, I had ordered a Rainier Arms 18-inch barrel and just took some Faro Gold metal match, some 77 grain, and just went out there and really just had a ball. And that's kind of how I got hooked.
That's pretty cool. So
seems like the more fun you have, the more it costs.
Yeah, no, my wife,
like
she hated it because I was like, "Yeah, it's like a $250 barrel." She's like, "Okay." Then it's like, I'm a left-handed shooter. I'm a right-handed guy, and I shoot pistols right-handed, but I shoot rifles left-handed. I'm all screwed up, right? And I had bought a Remington 700 and kind of tricked it out. I mean, it was like the AAC edition, so I had a suppressor. I was like, "Oh, I want something that's already got a thread so I can use it." Got it, loved it. Went out to a farm. Shot out 700 yards, got like a second round impact, and I'm like, "Oh, no, I really love this sport." Then I'm like, "Well, I want to build me a left-handed gun because there's not really that much out there for left-handed guys." Well, that turned into a Defiance Action, a Manor stock, and a Vortec Razor scope, and it just snowballed. And the wife's like, "When are you gonna stop spending money?"
Talk about spending money. I signed up for 3 major matches this year. 4 major matches. Okay.
Nice.
That I had. One was Las Vegas, USPSA Multi-Gun Nationals, which that's already done. And then over in Niles, Michigan, we have the Black Arsenal 3-gun match. Yep. Right. So that one's already done. And I got into the Pro-Am down in Kentucky this weekend. So
cool.
I'm getting ready to leave for that. Matt Kupka's having, I never can pronounce his last name right. Did I say it right? Anybody know?
I'm not sure. And it's like Kupika. I don't know. I'm gonna mess it all up too.
Well, he has a Great Lakes or Michigan State Championship, something or another, and I'm going to shoot that. And a guy messaged me yesterday and wanted me to go to shoot Missouri the day or the weekend before the Michigan State Championship. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be going all over the place. So they want me to RO this match. Or he wants me to RO with him. I'm like, man, dude, I'm going to have to take off like 4 days of work to do it. Now I'm looking at my paycheck stub. I don't have any more vacation time. So I can't, it's going to cost me an arm and a leg to go shoot these matches. And it's bad. My wife is like, I don't think so. And since we bought the camper, now we got to take the camper with us. Bought this big fifth wheel. And I'm actually talking about buying a new semi. Yes, a Class 8 semi to haul the fifth wheel around.
Wow.
Wow.
Like a toter home?
A real semi, like a Peterbilt.
So why do you want to go that route?
It'll haul everything and go anywhere I want it to go. You know,
But your pickup truck won't do it.
my pickup truck will do it. I've been having some problems with my pickup truck. It's a 2005 and it's getting a little old on
Yeah.
it. I want something heavy duty. Plus, if I'm going to go down the highway and get 8.9 miles to the gallon, I want to do that in style.
I got you. No, I know the feeling on the truck. I've got an 04 F250, and I'm like debating on getting rid of it and stuff. But I love the truck still, so it's a tough call. So,
Corey, what are you doing sitting there with that grunt style T-shirt on?
Well, I'm just I'm waiting my turn.
Your turn's now, buddy. You
Yes,
gotta just jump in, man. You just gotta go for it.
So one of the questions I actually have for you, Tommy, is you said you didn't really like or were gonna ever get another AR off a shelf, right?
that's a good point. Yeah.
So why is that?
I'll put it to you this way: my Bushmaster, the rifle that I have right now, is a $900 upper and lower.
Correct.
Because that's the only thing that's stock on that gun.
Okay.
The bolt has changed, the barrel's changed, the comp has changed, the stock has changed, the handguard has changed, the trigger's changed, the grip's changed, the paint job has changed too, because that's navy camo pattern.
Oh yeah, that's right. What did you use to do yours in that? Was that Cerakote?
Yeah, it's Cerakote. I had all three guns. I had shotgun and rifle, and a handgun to match. But the handgun was an M&P. Well, I upgraded to Rock Island Armories all the way around. So I have a Rock Island Armory 9mm for 3-gun, and then 40 for Smith & Wesson for USPSA. So I never did get those two Cerakoted anything, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave them alone. But the reason why I feel that I'm not going to buy a AR off the shelf anymore, because I've changed everything on every single AR I've ever owned.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Because you have to customize it to your own specifications.
That's part of the sickness.
Basically.
It is part of the sickness. That's how the sickness becomes what this in the corner. But
it costs money to have fun.
It does.
Well, yeah.
I like building rifles too. It's a lot of fun too doing that. That's the thing. There's many aspects of the hobby. There's the shooting part of it, competitively or just for plinking or whatever purposes you want to shoot. Then there's the assembling and building and tweaking and doing the gunsmithing at home type deal. And then there's the whole reloading factor of it, which is a whole other hobby inside the hobby. So there's many cool things that can be centered around it. But yeah, I agree about the whole built not bought type deal, because with the exception of like my Colt LE6920, the only thing I changed on it was the ejection door, just to have an engraved one put on it. That's it. Everything else is all factory. I tried different parts on it, tried different stocks, tried a different grip, tried different handguard. Played around with a few things. I'm like, no, it just doesn't feel right. It's got to be all stock. That's just that rifle. That's just me personally. But like for example, my R Guns rifle started out as first I bought a complete upper from R Guns. Had ordered it. I was waiting for it to come in. There was a long delay. This is back to 2012-ish. I ended up building an upper to go with the lower that I had, which was that ATI Omni I talked about, and which is now a dedicated 22. And then I bought a complete R Guns lower that had an A2 fixed stock on it. And that R Guns setup originally became my competition setup. It went from taking off the original A2 front sight post and the handguard and putting a free floating handguard on it, and then changing out the stock to a carbine buffer tube assembly and Magpul stock and a Magpul grip on it. Then it started having different changes, like did a drop-in trigger to it, and that's how I kind of tweaked it along the way as my needs changed or how I wanted it set up. So that for competition use and whatnot, it kind of grew with me, and then eventually, came up with the option of, hey, we can get an F1 receiver set for a really awesome deal. And I jumped on it and bought it, and it wasn't the anodized blue that I wanted, but it was, I could have for the cost difference, I can get it Cerakoted and save myself a lot of money. And it won't be the cool anodized blue, but it will be an awesome blue. And the rifle came out better than I could imagine, and I love it. And, Applied Arsenal Finishes and Gunworks out in Waterman, Illinois, did an awesome job with it. And, in fact, I've had them Cerakote the American flag rifle that you see on my page and stuff that I own. And that thing's been pretty awesome.
Rick, I actually just PM'd you a picture of my rifles. Can you grab that and put that up? I just wanted to show Corey and Dustin.
Let's see if I can do that. It might take me a minute. I might have to download it first to be able to display it, but
I know I would like to build my own rifle at some point. Last year for my birthday, my grandpa got me a Delton, and it's pretty fun. And but I've always kind of wanted to build my own rifle. The only thing I really added to it was a Magpul front handrail, and really I think that's it. And a sling. I put a sling on it.
But, there you go. You had it, Rick.
Yeah, Deltons. They're made right here in North Carolina. Not about
can you see it now?
2 hours away from me.
Yep, that's right. Exactly. So can you see this photo now?
I can. Oh, yeah. Here it is. Yeah, there we go.
You guys can see it?
All right.
Okay. Awesome.
There's my rifle, my shotgun. It's a Beretta 1301. And then up on the tailgate is my Rock Island Armory, all with all my stuff that I use. That's everything.
Yeah, your favorite color is not blue, I can tell.
No, it's not. I actually hate the color blue. I mean, you notice the mags are blue too. You see, the red ones are actually my 40 Smith & Wessons. I accidentally threw those two red ones in there, but I had to match the car a little bit.
How has the aftermarket field for the 1301? I used to have one because I went through a small phase where I was like, I want to get into 3-gun. And then I realized the cost and everything associated with it, because I really wasn't tooled up, if you will, for a 3-gun. And I ended up selling it 2 months after I bought it. It was one of the smoothest shotguns I ever owned as far as an autoloader, but at the time there wasn't really that much aftermarket parts other than a mag tube and maybe a spring here and a spring there. But it seems like the aftermarket world has taken off for those, I guess, maybe.
It has. Unfortunately, I don't have anything aftermarket on there except for the TACCOM extension, and that's it. I actually do. I have a front bead. Mm-hmm. Which one is that? It's the real long one. It's 3 inches long or something like that. 2.75 is what they call it. I think it's made by True Glow, but
right.
I'm lying because I don't really remember what it is. That's it. I don't have anything else done to the gun. Right. I've opened up the loading port myself because that's what you're going to do anyway.
Yeah.
other than that, the gun runs flawless. little bit of Lucas gun oil in there, works it right up. Keeps the gun running. I haven't had one problem other than at one match, the Black Arsenal match in Niles. It got me. The way the stage was set up is that there was 6 knockdown steel, 1 slug target, move over to the other slide, another slug target, and 6 more knockdown steel. So the way to shoot this is you stage your gun where your first 6 rounds are birdshot, and then you have 2 slugs, and then you have the rest. So I was shooting, and when I shot, I either hit the trigger twice or I slam fired the gun. So it went double shot, 2 bird, and that was it. That was the first time the gun ever really failed me. And I don't know if it was the gun or if it was me. I guarantee you it was probably me.
Now, is that something that gets you DQ'd in that type of match?
No. Because my finger was still on the trigger. Now, if my finger was out of the trigger guard and I was holding my hand up and the gun's sitting there going off, yeah, I'm pretty much going home.
Right on. Yeah, because like when I had mine, I had a Mossberg JM Pro right when they first came out, and everybody was like, "Ooh, that's the shotgun to have if you're starting out." Yeah, it had problems, a lot of problems.
It did.
Sent it back, still had problems, so I sold it.
Yeah.
Hey, I was honest to the guy. The guy was like a tinker, and I was like, "Look, this is what it does." And every so often, it just wouldn't pick up the shell. And I'm like, I don't know much about shotguns. Like, this is not my thing, so I'm trying to mess with it.
I know guys, they have the Jam Pros. I mean, some of them, they've worked the shotgun until it started to run. My one buddy, Rick, you know him, Leo Jimenez, Jimenez brothers. They both have JM Pros, and they run. They've put a lot of time and effort into making the gun and putting little pieces in here and there to make the gun better. Now, when I was in Las Vegas, I RO'd. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't get to RO Jerry Miculek, but I did get to mess with his shotgun. And I'll tell you what, that shotgun is smooth. He's done a lot of filing and working that shotgun so that way all the action's real smooth in it. And that's what you have to do. Right. It doesn't matter if you have a Benelli, a Beretta, a JM Pro, a Stoger. If you make that gun run and get everything working correctly, it's going to run.
No doubt.
Some of them run right out of the box. I'm not going to lie. Some of them do. Some of them don't. I've had to do a little bit of work. I did a little bit of polishing here and there on the bolt just to make it flow faster. Right. Then you can take a look at my Sega 12. That's funny because my Sega 12, I took a die grinder to it and just started grinding on the inside just to get it to run right. It wouldn't run any shells that were like under 1,200 feet per second. Yeah. So I had to buy expensive shotgun shells to shoot the gun. Now, I shoot Federal Premiums. I'm not sponsored by them, but I don't have any problem with their ammunition. Their ammunition, I buy it from Walmart. It patterns better than any other brand. I can go buy expensive stuff or I can go buy the cheap stuff. And the cheaper stuff is what's going to pattern good. So I can hit my targets when I need to.
Yeah, I'm cheap when it comes to shotguns. You just buy the value Federal pack, I guess.
Yeah,
at Wally World.
Exactly what I do. My wife caught them on sale for $19.97. She bought 12 boxes of them.
Wow.
She didn't tell me about it until I got home. She's like, she texted me and I said, go ahead and buy 2 then. Right. So she went ahead and bought 12 for me. That was really nice of her. I love her. You know, she's awesome. But
kind of funny story about buying like 12 boxes. So I don't know if you guys know this, but like the new diesels, the newer diesels, you have to put Def or Yuri in them, like
yeah, I know.
I just went.
That's what I do.
For it. Anyway, long story short, my dad, he has several big trucks and whatnot. So I called him up one day. I'm like, hey, I'm at Wally World, and they're like $7 for like a gallon. Normally they're like 20 at like AutoZone or whatnot. Anyway, long story short, I'm like, do you want to get you some? He goes, yeah. How many do they got? And I'm like, they got about 35. He goes, get all of them.
Yep.
I'm like, okay. So I had like 3 carts out there, and I was like, I'm rolling one cart out. This guy stops, like, damn, man, like, you have a lot of oil. What are you changing the oil in? Like, my Civic. Oh,
the
man.
DEF, you got to be careful with that because it has a shelf life.
Yeah, yeah. He's got a international and a Freightliner. He sells commercial building supplies, so he's always got that truck running up and down the roads, and then he's got a diesel truck himself. But yeah, we try to keep them rotated out because those guys they'll just like anybody that uses stuff that's not their own, they tend to abuse it. So we always had that friend that's, hey, can I borrow your truck or your car? And they return it, and it's like buried on E. But
$750 in fuel later. Especially when you got a semi.
Yeah. Well, those going back to the Beretta, the 1301, like that was by far one of my favorite shotguns. I'm like straight out of the box, like open up the port, put a mag tube on it, and just ran it. Because I think we got 12, I may be lying, 12 shells. I just remember it was the mag tube was stuck out farther than the barrel, like a good 6 inches or so, and I pulled that joker out, and my friend's like, I want to do that for a run. Load it up and just let them have at it.
Hey, so I got a question too for you, Dustin. When it comes to long range and so forth, tell us a little bit, like someone who's maybe interested in doing long range shooting and getting into competition sport. What's the starting point for that?
Really, the starting point, if I could go back and do it over again, it would do more research because when I got into it, there really wasn't as much of a following. Like there was a following, but it wasn't as big as it is now, especially since the Ruger Precision Rifle came out. And now everybody's going to the 6.5 Creedmoor, and the kind of the joke is like we shot the Creedmoor before it became popular or before it became quote the fanboys. Right? Really, it's just to find a range and just get out there and talk to these guys. That's the first step, in my opinion. And guys are like, well, what about guns? Me, even though I shot at Remington, and Remington's quality control has gone down in recent years, and it's been steadily kind of somewhat declining, I would go with a Savage just because of the mere fact that the barrel nut, and most people that have ARs, they've changed their barrel, and it goes along with the same way. You still need a headspace gauge, but for the most part, I mean, it's pretty, it's pretty idiot proof to do that, to swap calibers. Like I got a friend that has a Savage, not Axis, FCT or FPC, I believe it is. It's one of the higher end Savages, and he'll switch from a 6.5 Creedmoor when he gets and wants to shoot a 308. He shoots a 308 and he just swaps barrels out. It takes him about 20 minutes to swap himself a barrel out. And really you just go from there and save up your money and buy some good glass. I mean, that is the big thing. Either buy like a fixed 10 or save your money and at least get like a Vortex PST, even like a Gen 1. I run a Gen 1 on my 18-inch AR. It's a 2.5 by 10 power. And I've taken that joker out to right at 1,000 yards. Funny thing about that is I was shooting 77 grain with 8208 XBR, and went and looked at the targets, and the bullet was like, it wasn't stabilized no more, so it was impacting the target sideways, which is pretty cool because I'd never seen it before. But really, it's just a matter of just getting out there and just doing it. A good place is Snapper Side. I tell people it's the forums. Take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of good shooters are on that forum, but there's a lot of bad information on any forum you get on, not just Snapper Hide. A lot of Facebook groups out there. It's just a matter of getting out there and talking with experienced shooters.
Finding the right person.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell. I mean, you can tell who's feeding you BS versus who's actually knows their stuff. Most of the time.
So So after you kind of get started into this, where you pick out, the rifle you're going to shoot with, you kind of get some practice in and so forth with your accuracy and whatnot. How does it go from there as far as like a match? Like, what are these matches like exactly? Just based off the accuracy alone, or I'm coming from like shooting like competitively moving and shooting like 3-gun and things like that. So I'm trying to see what the difference is exactly and how it's scored and how it's laid out as far as a match and so forth.
The scores are timed. They rely on the time for if you have like a tie, but for the most part, it's hit percentage. And I always tell people smooth, it's fast. The matches, I mean, it's like 3-gun because you're running around or you're moving at least. You may have, imagine like a staircase, right? And you got you got targets that are at, say, this easy conversation, 4, 6, and 800 yards, right? You can take a shot off the stairs. You have like 6 stairs. You can take a shot off any stair or any step, but you can't make the same shot off that same step. So you're moving and have to get situated back down, get on the rifle, get comfortable, be calm, and still get off that round and take that time because when you're not prone, those crosshairs, they move, and it's a matter of getting the timing down and just the being stable. That's the biggest thing, is being stable. But once you go to a match, I mean, even go to a match and just watch it and talk to some guys there. That's the biggest thing, right? Because the proof is in the pudding, right?
Sure.
In that point, and then go do your first match. Tell guys, hey, I'm a new shooter there, and when we have new shooters in the squad, we always, I don't say like, we don't hold their hand, but if we see something that they're doing somewhat wrong, we'll like, say, hey, instead of putting your elbow on your knee, put it more in your gut for XYZ reason. Do this differently next time and see how it changes you, because each person is built differently and each person is going to approach the problem, the stage, differently than the next. I mean, it's the same principle as 3-gun or USPSA or steel matches. It's how do you come to the stage and how do you accomplish it?
I totally agree with that, because at 3-gun matches and any competition that I've ever been to, including Cowboy, they're all the same way. We're all trying to help each other.
Yes.
And some of the major matches, I don't really expect to have somebody hold my hand.
Right.
But, there's some local matches that I just go to and I'm always helping somebody or somebody's always helping me. Same thing. We're all in this together. Local matches, there ain't no prize table at some of them. But major matches and stuff like that, it's a little bit less people to hold your hand and help you, because they want that prize table prize. Some people are not in it for the prize table, and that is a total different discussion. Some people are just in it for the prize and to be first place. And there's a lot of good shooters out there that do that, and I'm like, that's not me. But I don't mind helping this person here and talk with him and help him or her shoot the match. Doesn't really matter to me. And I agree with the same thing you say. We all got to stick together. We all got to be friendly to each other, and we help each other out.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well said.
But yeah, I mean, getting into the local matches. My first long range match that was with my 6.5 gun that I had built was called the Guardian. And the Guardian is a really cool match. It's more of the expensive matches, but it goes to a great cause. And what it is that money goes toward helping find kids forever homes, basically for adoption, right? It helped people like in my life. We suffer for, it's hard for us to get pregnant. We've been trying for years and years. But adoption is so expensive. And what it does is this ministry helps people, like say me and my wife, find kids that need to be adopted. But in all, it has prize tables. They do like a raffle, and they have some really, really good stuff like MPA chassis. Hawk Hill put in some barrels. scopes, like high-end scopes, Vortex, Night Force. I mean, you name it, it's on that price table. And since it's really laid back, and because it's not like a PRS match, it's not like a national 3-gun match or anything like that. Everybody's like helping everybody, like we're coaching everybody, and that was my first match. And I mean, I learned a lot, but then I took away more or less of what not to do, even though we're only shooting like 600 yards at that match. They do one in Minnesota, I want to believe, or Michigan, one of the northern states by the Great Lakes. They do one there. They do one at Woody's in North Carolina. And I want to say they did one in Alabama or Georgia. But, yeah, dude, it's just great stuff.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I'm going to have to get into that, I think.
Oh, yeah, man. It's one of the best masters I've ever been to.
My wife's over here shaking her head at me. No, you're not.
Do it. Go get that Remington 700 or that Savage now or tomorrow.
There was a X-Bolt, Browning X-Bolt at Bass Pro, which is just right down the street from me, by the way. It was there last year. They wanted like $4.99 for it, and then it was on sale for like $4.29. I should have bought it and just put some like really expensive glass on it, some Night Force optic or something. Just totally did it out because I don't know. I'm a pretty good shot. Okay, and I don't mean to knock myself, but I'm pretty good at shooting, and I've gotten better over the years. It all becomes down to practice. If you practice more, you get better. And I think with that gun, I probably could have done long range shooting, but is it like the guns that you have? No, it's not. It's just a store-bought gun that is not any kind of competition rifle at all. It's more of a hunting rifle. And now since Indiana allows you to use hunting rifles or rifle to hunt in certain calibers, and of course it wasn't the right caliber, so I didn't buy it. Welcome back, Rick.
What kind of nonsense is that?
Yeah, that's Indiana for you.
Sorry,
that's in North Carolina. It's like we can hunt with like anything, and then we finally were able to hunt with short barrel or SBRs and suppressors. And now it's like I just opened up the back door and I get Bambi.
Well,
that's awesome.
Hope DNR is not watching. So the rule is that you can't have more than 8 or 10 rounds on you when you're hunting. So the years before, it was a magazine capacity limit.
Right.
Well, that's what I thought it was. No, you can't have more than 10 rounds on you. Here I am.
Literally on you.
On you, yeah.
Wow.
You can't have no more than that. And so I had one magazine in the gun, which I have a Sega 308. And that's what I was using for hunting rifle. I went to the range, sighted the gun in, 200 yards, good. Drove like 30, 40 miles away from my house to go to a place that had 200 yards. Had private land all set up and ready to go. Yep. I shot a deer at 40 yards away. I just, like, really, 40 yards. So I did all that practicing and shooting the gun and making sure it was right and all's dialed in and everything else. And I have a scope on it, too. It's all Russian. It's a Russian scope. It's actually a pretty good, accurate rifle. I mean, at 100 yards, I can bullseye at 100 yards. For what it is, it's a sloppy AK, no accuracy in AKs. People say, well, this one actually is pretty good for at 100 yards. I don't know what it would do after that. At 200 yards, I was probably grouping within about 3 inches, just because the scope is not there. I can't constant hold on that target at that range. So here I go, and I shoot this deer at 40 yards away. I was mad because I wasted all that time and all that ammunition, and I shoot a deer that I could have just taken the scope off and turned the gun sideways and looked down the barrel and just shot it.
Wow.
That's how that works sometimes, unfortunately.
Yes, it is.
So
and now I've taken that to my 3-gun, and I bought 45-degree sights. So now when the targets are real close, like 40 yards away, I just look down the barrel of the gun. I don't use my optic no more.
Nice. So we're a little bit after 10 o'clock here. Go ahead and wrap things up for tonight. But appreciate having you all on tonight with us. And Dustin, being that you're in North Carolina, we should get together sometime and do some long range stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
Man. Anytime, man. Anytime.
We'll talk because I want to learn more about it because I just haven't had much experience with it. Honestly, my experience, just to give a quick synopsis.
Right.
I took a long range class that was very brief, like an intro to long range, like about a year or two ago, maybe 2 years ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And shot a. It was actually a friend of mine's custom built Remington 700 308, off to 600 yards with it at a steel plate, and I thought that was kind of cool. But I didn't get to do it a whole lot, and I want to kind of learn more and get more practice with it and figure all that kind of stuff out, and so forth. So we'll definitely have to talk about it.
Absolutely.
So again, appreciate having you guys on. Of course, Corey, appreciate having you on. Hopefully, we'll get your friend, your political friend, in one day.
Yeah.
To talk about that.
Yep.
And I forgot, that was a concealed carry bill. What was it again that he was pushing for?
He is the author of the constitutional carry bill in Indiana.
Cool. So hopefully we can get him on at some point and talk with him as well.
Yep.
So thanks again for being on with us. And Dustin as well, it's nice having you on here. You're welcome to come back anytime. You want to hang out and talk guns with us? Do it every week.
Yeah, anytime.
So.
I like this is my first time doing this for it. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's fun. Just get a bunch of gun guys together and talk, and once in a while we'll have special guests. Believe it or not, we've had some pretty interesting people. I know Corey was on when we had Brandon K. Hampton. And for those who don't know who he is, I don't know if you've ever seen Better Call Saul, the TV show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He plays Ernesto on that show. So he came on.
Nice.
Yeah, a mutual friend of ours. I didn't know that she was friends with him, and he was able to come on one night and talk with us a little bit and whatnot. It was kind of interesting to check out the episode. But we'll get some different people from the industry on as well from time to time, and from different companies and so forth. And it's always a blast. So that's pretty much the synopsis. But I appreciate having you on, and it's always good to have someone new, to bring in. So thank you again. And Tommy, it's good having you back. You're going to I'm going to mess it up. I know you said Kentucky this weekend, or Pro-Am, correct?
Yes, I am.
Yep, so good luck with that.
Thank you.
I'm sure that's going to be fun. And is that at the Rock, whatever they call it? Like the
Yep, it's at Rock Castle.
Rock Castle, that's what I'm trying to say. Couldn't spit it out. In fact, I was on there. I don't know if you know this. They have a podcast and a show they do, the Rock Castle Gun Show. They do it on ESPN.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they have it on ESPN Kentucky, and I didn't know that either. I've heard of the Rock Castle shooting complex or shooting center or whatever you call it. But I haven't been there yet myself. I'm wanting to go, seeing photos and videos from it and so forth. But one day I had the opportunity to be on their show, which I said airs on ESPN Kentucky, and then they also do a podcast. And we talked about the 50 States Project a little bit on there, and that was fun. Hopefully I'll get a chance to go back on there, and hopefully one day I'll get to actually go visit the facility too and check it out.
The Noble family, they've really done that place up nice. I mean, they got a hotel on property, okay, and they have pistol bays within walking distance of the hotel, and then they have a cowboy town. They have long range. That's Thunder Valley, they call that. They have a golf course there too, so if you just want to go play golf, you can go play golf. And then they have a couple other places too. They have Trap, I believe. They have Trap range.
Yeah, if I remember right too, they have like available like properties. You could buy like a house there or something, or buy a property. I think. So
I think it's
live. Say like the community or whatever, you can actually buy into and have like a resort type community type deal.
I've never seen that part of it.
I could be wrong. I thought I saw it someplace, so
I thought I did too.
Don't hold me to it. Give a quick shout out to all the people out over on the YouTube side on the chat. Craggy Island, Joe Gizzy, our friend, he was out there. I know he couldn't be on tonight, but he was able to kind of check in a little bit while we were doing this. He likes my my reloading room here, my background, so that's kind of cool. And Ballistic 508 was on here, and Sean Callanan. I'm gonna mess up his name. I apologize, Sean. He's on there too, watching us, and Havoc Legion shooting team as well is watching out there tonight. And I appreciate you guys chiming in on the live chat and so forth. Like I said, anytime you're out there watching this, when it's live, post up your questions, comments, anything. We'll go through that and look at it from time to time during the show, and we can actually respond to your questions and comments, and hopefully get the information that you're interested in knowing about. Because after all, that's what this is for. It's basically to share ideas with everybody, learn things, and just have fun talking about shooting and so forth, and all that. So again, thanks everybody, and until next time, as always, have fun shooting.